What's up guys? In this video we are going to talk about loops, whiles, for, and all this stuff. So yeah, let's start by creating the loops program, and now let's start by creating our first loop. For this first loop we are going to use the while statement, and the while statement is very simple. Usually, in order to do loops with the while statement, we need a counter. So we are going to create a variable called I, and we are going to set the value of the variable to 0. Now, we want to, for example, print a message 10 times. So what we have to tell the computer is that, okay, I have a counter which is going to have its value increased all the time. So every time we increase the value, I want you to print the message. So as we are increasing the value, we also want that whenever the counter reaches a point, in this case 10, then we want to stop. Like, hey, you printed 10 times and that's okay. So, okay, we declare the variable, and now let's say while I is less than 10, so it's going to go from 0 to 9, 10 numbers. I want you to print hello and increase the variable. What does this mean? This is the same as doing this. It is totally the same, but if you want to make it shorter, you can do just this. So now if we execute this program, yeah, you see, we printed hello 10 times, but it is important to check that we are increasing the value, because if we are not increasing the value of our counter, what happens is that we are going to be in an infinite loop. So for example, if I remove this and I do this, you see, the computer is printing all the time, like it doesn't stop. In order to stop that kind of programs, you have to press Ctrl+C and then the program stops. But yeah, those are the loops. So you just have to remember that this is a counter. Here we put the condition that we want to be fulfilled while the loop is working, and here we put whatever we want to be doing. But we can also do loops without counters. So for example, if we remove this, and we say while true, this means that the loop is going to be working all the time without stopping. But let's say that, yeah, we created, I don't know, like there's a process behind. We are going to emulate this process with a counter, and whenever the counter is 10, we want to stop. So another way to stop this is just put an if I is equal to 10, let's stop. Break. What break means is that, hey, if you reach this condition, I want you to go out of the loop. Like this goes out of the loop, and the computer will come here and say, hey, I finished. Hey, I finished. Let's not forget to add the counter. And yeah, if we now execute this, hey, I finished. But now instead of printing hello, let's print the value of I. So let's say that we only want to print the odd numbers. So for that we have to add an if and a condition. So yeah, how can we do this? So for example, we can use a condition here, we can use an if inside, but let's do it in another way. So for example, we want that, okay, print the number I, but we want that whenever the number I is odd, even, we are not going to print it. And how do we know if a number is odd or even? So if we perform this operation, we know if a number is odd or even. What does this mean? This is basically dividing. So for example, if we had here the value 10, it would do 10 divided by 2, and what this returns is the remainder of the division. So for example, 10 divided by 2, the remainder is 0. And every number divided by 2 that the remainder is 0, it's even. So whenever there's an even number, we skip that iteration. So that's what continue means. Skipping, like it won't do this, but it will skip. So for example, if we execute this, oh well, sorry, I forgot this is I, and let's say that we want this to finish at if I is bigger than 10, break, and all the time we want to be adding I plus 1. Okay. And this doesn't go here. Okay, let's try it again. You see, now we are printing odd numbers. So the module operation is very useful in case we want to know if a number is even, is odd, multiples of one number, etc. Yeah, but this was a very complex way to print odd numbers. There are several ways in which is more simpler. So for example, we can do just simply this. So yeah, this is easier and it works. So here we still have the same, so here we still have odd numbers and it's the same. But also there's another type of loop which is called the for loop. The Python for loop is not the same as other languages for loop. The Python for loop is used to iterate data structures. So for example, let's say that we have the list A with the numbers. So let's say that we have this list, and let's say that we have this other dictionary. So yeah, if we want to iterate through the list, it's just as simple as putting for x in A. So what is this? So what this is doing is taking the list, and now it says, okay, this element is now x, printed. This element is now x, printed. You see, it goes through every value of the list. So if we execute this, we just have all the ones here. Let's make this more clear by changing the values. So yeah, if we execute this again, we see that we are iterating through the values. So in each iteration, x changes the value. In the first iteration it's 1, in the second one is 2, in the third one is 3, and so on. But we can also iterate through a dictionary. And for that, it's what we talked about in the previous video. We can use the, for example, method keys, which will make us iterate through the keys. But in case we want to iterate through the values, we just simply type here values, and now we are iterating through the values. So yeah, that was everything. This is the end of the first part of these tutorials. Now in the next episode I will solve a problem. We will do exercises in the Code Wars webpage, which is very cool. I hope that you understood the basics. Like, these are the very basics of Python, but if you understand this, you just have to now go and do some projects. Like, if you try to do projects, you are going to learn a lot, because here I just talked to you the basics of Python. Like, I didn't talk to you about some statements or some special methods or things like that. Those things can be learned when you start doing projects and you say, hey, how do I do this? And you check on internet and all those things. So I hope that this was useful. I hope that you enjoyed this first part of the course. We will continue with this course. We will talk about threads and all those things. And yeah, see you in the next one. Go, if you like the video, press like and subscribe. Don't forget to go and check my website, in which I talk about trading and cryptocurrencies and all that stuff for a very cheap price.
Damn, Sosa. You going crazy.
Quédate tranquilo, si estoy bajando todo, lo siento, te quedas en nada.